And looking beyond 2021, do you think that the growth in Ecuador can be sustained? And do you see that 1 million metric tons as a kind of viable target with the current kind of industry model and approach, or do you think there has to be changes to the way things are done in the industry to kind of to go to that level?
Well, in order to see a growth and reaching the 1 million metric tons, you need to have a healthy market, and you have to have a healthy demand. So you have to be able to sell everything that you are producing comfortably, enough so that the farmers are motivated, earn money, and keep on investing to grow. As far as land, Ecuador's growth has not been in building land. There are very few changes in certain lands. We have banana farms that are converted into shrimp farms. It takes a lot of time and investment. But our growth has been in the same ponds in productivity. We are not talking about intensive, but we are seeding a little bit more. Instead of 8 animals per square meter, up to maybe 15 animals per square meter. So that's almost double density from what we were doing in the past. If we expect the pandemic to calm down, I'm not saying it's going to go away, but we have vaccines all over the world. You're starting to see some effect. What we sell is a block of shrimp. So we sell head-on and headless block frozen as Ecuador. That's our main item. When that market shut down last year, our price was affected, right? But as soon as the restaurants start to open up again, they're going to demand that same product that they were demanding back into 2020. So there's a market, a complete part of the market that is shut down, and that's our main customer for the past, not for the future, because we already have orders in for more value added than we can produce, just because everybody was late, everybody was backed up. So Ecuador as a whole ramped up their value added production, and we can and will do the value added. Of course, it makes sense to do value added when you have it, but our factories were set up to do head on. So for us to see an important growth and reach the 1 million metric tons, if it wasn't because of COVID, I would have said that in 2022 we would have been in the 1 million metric tons. We were well on our way. In 2020, we started the year with 26% growth in the first 3 months. If we kept that number, we would have been there in 2022. So we have the know-how. We just need the market to be with us. And COVID took the market away from us. So definitely, I mean, this year, of course, we're going to peel more and more, and we just have to watch that number between export statistics, which is exported product, and production statistics from Ecuador. Just because Ecuador, the way they post numbers is not production numbers.
I also wanted to ask you about the pricing outlook in Ecuador. I mean, obviously the prices have really dropped, further than other production countries due to, I suppose, the historical, strong exports to China. But do you envisage that that's going to happen, stay the case over the course of this year? And has the farming industry, kind of set itself up so that they can still make money at this price level?
Well, 2020 was as I mentioned before, it was a horrible year because the product that we were doing was shut down. The product form that we were supplying to the world, we were supplying China in blocks, we were supplying the USA in blocks, we were supplying Europe in blocks, and our product form was shut down. That's what COVID hit. COVID did not hit value added IQF bags. It increased it exponentially. Retail is they're using they're using new recipes all the time, finding it online, whatever it is, and the consumption is there. The product is being consumed. We were just selling the wrong product. So yes, our prices for our selling scheme, our selling format was the most affected, I would say, of all the world, right? We are constantly producing. We have shrimp all year round. And during the first half of 2020, COVID shut down the demand. It literally put a plug on demand and said there's no more demand because Italy shut down, France shut down, Spain shut down, the US shut down after March X or April, right? So all of the demand when we were producing was shut down. Nobody else is producing their most shrimp during that season. That's our big season is 12 months of the year. Other people have big seasons after June, after May, and then Central America comes in very late in April. So our product was the most hit. That's why our price went down the furthest. That's why our price is still the lowest, because it went down the furthest. So you have to bring it up gradually, and we have to increase our breakdowns of products that we are producing. We cannot continue to produce blocks when people cannot use blocks. You don't take a block of 5-pound shrimp when you're a 2-people family and bring it home, because then you would have to thaw out the block and put another block back into the fridge, right? You need not 1 extra fridge, 7 extra fridges to keep products if you were taking them in blocks. So yes, our prices were hit the most. Now, what happened after that is we started to do value added. The market is getting back on its feet. We had, of course, the problems that everybody knows we had in China with COVID and white spot and all of that story. For me, China is clearly trying to protect local farmers. That makes a lot of sense. You want to protect your own production, so you want to keep as much of the imports limited as much as possible, and with sanitary restrictions, with whatever you can to keep your local production and to motivate your local producers, which is important and it's good. But they still need shrimp. Their purchases in December from Ecuador were very low. In January, very low. We're talking 28 million pounds, of which some is going for reprocess and some is going for consumption, maybe 20 million pounds out of Ecuador when they were buying 70 million. So there's 2 things to note about that. The first is Ecuador clearly found another place to put their shrimp. That's the first thing. And that's the very most important thing, is we were very heavy into that market and we found a different place to put our shrimp.
Yeah, maybe I'm just asking Robbins, I want to ask you really about your views on potential for consolidation to take place in the Ecuadorian farming sector. I mean, do you think that this situation could drive more of that amongst farming? I think it's probably unlikely amongst the packing industry because it's quite consolidated anyway, but maybe you might have a view on that.
Well, there's definitely some people, some farms that are less profitable than others. Some farms are losing money. The farms that are located in more difficult areas, it's not a high percentage of farms. But if you have a farm that is losing money, you're going to look to try and find somebody to consolidate with, or to somebody to help you produce. Whoever is producing profitably maybe can teach you how to produce profitably. I don't think we're at that point yet in Ecuador. I think that that's not a 2021 kind of picture. And from the first 60 days, with the increases in prices locally, I think that farmers get motivated, and then as they get motivated, they get farther away from that idea of consolidating. Nobody consolidates when they're making enough money or they're making money. So I think that could have been an option if COVID, if the situation or the market as it was in 2020 would remain, but I think it's not. I think we're already seeing a lot of improvements in the market in the past 6 weeks. For 2021, the idea is to go back to where we were producing as far as stocking density in our own farms. In 2020 we actually decreased the density of our farms. There's some people that increased them to be able to cope with the low prices, and some others decreased them and tried to find other ways to decrease their costs, because we had to, with the prices that were going on, we had to decrease our prices, our costs significantly in order to survive. So this year we're going to try and go back, once we've restructured our fixed costs try to go back to seeding a little more like we were in the past, 12 animals, 13 animals per square meter that we did in the beginning of 2020, and continue on with that. The other thing that's been great in Ecuador is that we were growing usually between 1.4 and 1.5 grams per week, and today that's up to 1.8, 1.9 grams per week. So that's another one of the factors that is important for us as far as production. I know other places grow much more, they grow better, but we're taking it step by step and quite slowly.
Okay, thanks, Gabriel. Well, let's get to some questions from the audience, because we've had some good ones come in. Question here from Tony Watkinson in the UK, from Laborie Fine Foods. What are the panel's general views on prices for 2020 for Vaname, and specifically for AS certified Vaname material? And are there any views on certified growth, on growth of certified production, specifically ASC? So I don't know who would like to take that. Maybe someone can jump in there. Gabriel, do you have a view, seeing as Ecuador is doing decent volumes of ASC? Is that likely to increase?
I think that the prices throughout, if you take Ecuador into consideration, it'll be much different than every other part of the world, because the other prices did not drop as much as Ecuador. So for us, yes, prices will increase, but I don't think that for the rest, we have to catch up to the rest of the world, is what I'm trying to say. Our prices were so low that we have to catch up to the rest of the world. So I think that yes, for Ecuadorians, price will increase, not necessarily for the rest of the world. We're just going to catch them to the levels that they were.